Forget the intro. Let's get straight to it. This is every level of GMC, ranked by what you're actually getting for your money, from the professional grade badge on a budget crossover all the way to the most head-turning electric vehicle America has ever produced. 7 levels. One brand that built its entire identity around looking like it costs more than it does. Let's go. Level 1, the professional grade tax terrain. Base trim, starting around $33,000, which sounds reasonable until you realize you're essentially looking at a Chevrolet Equinox wearing a different grille, a redesigned badge, and about $4,000 to $5,000 extra on the window sticker for the privilege. GMC calls it professional grade. The Equinox owner in the next parking space is laughing quietly and pocketing the difference. The base terrain isn't a terrible vehicle. It drives fine, looks decent from a distance, gets reasonable fuel economy, and the infotainment works. The problem is the value math. For the same money, you get basically the same platform, the same powertrain, the same bones, just with a GMC logo where the Chevy badge would be, and a slightly different interior treatment that costs the factory almost nothing to produce. Reality check, the base trims feel noticeably underwhelming the moment you step into a higher spec GMC and realize what the brand is actually capable of. Depreciation hits hard here too. That $33,000 terrain base is worth $18,000 in 3 years, and nobody's impressed by the badge at that price point anymore. Smart move, buy used at this level, or stretch the budget to the SLT trim where the interior quality actually starts justifying the name on the door. Coming in at the absolute bottom of the GMC lineup is like buying the cheapest seat at a nice restaurant. You're technically in the building, but you're not really experiencing it at all. Level 2, where GMC actually starts terrain, SLT, and Denali. Acadia in the lower trims. This is where the brand finally makes its case and the extra money starts making sense. Terrain SLT from around $38,000. Terrain Denali pushing $44,000. Acadia starting at $40,000 and climbing into the mid-50s once you add the packages you'll actually use daily. The SLT is the sweet spot in the terrain lineup. Leather seating, heated front seats, a larger infotainment screen, and a fit and finish that starts to feel like the price tag is justified. The Denali trim adds premium materials, unique exterior badging, and a level of interior refinement that finally separates GMC from its Chevrolet sibling in a way you can actually feel with your hands, not just read about in a brochure. The Acadia is the 3-row play at this tier. Comfortable, well-sized, solid on the highway, and genuinely family-friendly without feeling like you compromised on everything to get the 3rd row. The 2024 refresh gave it sharper looks and a significantly better interior than the generation it replaced. Not the flashiest thing in a parking lot, but it does everything it promises and nothing you didn't ask it to do. My pick? Terrain Denali if it's you and maybe one other person. Acadia SLT if there are kids, car seats, and weekend sports bags in the picture. Either way, this is where GMC starts actually earning the badge instead of just charging extra for it. Level 3, the Canyon Zone. Canyon AT4 and AT4X. Acadia Denali. This is where professional grade starts meaning something you can actually point to and justify to anyone who asks. Canyon AT4 from around $45,000. Canyon AT4X from around $52,000. Acadia Denali from around $50,000 into the upper 50s when it's properly configured. The Canyon AT4X is the one people sleep on and shouldn't. Off-road hardware that is legitimately impressive. Front and rear locking differentials, skid plates, a suspension tuned for actual terrain rather than just Instagram aesthetics, and Multimatic DSSV dampers that were developed for endurance racing. This is a mid-size truck that will go places full-size truck owners won't attempt, and it'll do it without destroying the interior experience for whoever's in the passenger seat questioning your route choices. The Acadia Denali is the move when you need a 3-row SUV, but you also need it to feel like a deliberate premium purchase every time you slide in. Unique Denali grille, genuine leather, ventilated front seats, a 15-inch diagonal infotainment screen, and a ride quality that makes the base Acadia feel like a different vehicle entirely. Not the same car with nicer seats. A different experience. This level is for people who actually use what they buy and want the capability to back up the way the truck looks sitting in the driveway. You're not just paying for appearance at this tier, You're paying for engineering that follows through on the promise. Level 4, the core GMC Sierra 1500 SLT and AT4 Yukon SLT. This is what GMC was actually built for. The bread and butter. The reason the brand exists. The vehicles that define what professional grade is supposed to mean when it stops being marketing and starts being a real truck you depend on. Sierra 1500 SLT from around $50,000. A T4 trim from around $58,000. Yukon SLT from $60,000. Numbers that climb fast once you start adding the packages you actually want, but every dollar here delivers something tangible. The Sierra versus the Silverado is a real conversation. Same platform, same powertrain options, but the Sierra brings a more refined interior, more available features at each trim level, and most importantly, the multi-pro tailgate. 6 different configurations. Steps for loading, a secondary work surface, full width open, a load stop for smaller cargo, and a groove-style cleat system for bikes and gear. It sounds like a gimmick until you spend one weekend using it and then wonder how you ever managed without it. Sierra AT4 is where the truck gets serious about luxury and capability at the same time. Off-road hardware, raised suspension, skid plates, and an interior that steps up noticeably from the SLT. 0 to 60 in around 5.4 seconds with the 5.3-liter V8. Tow capacity up to 11,000 pounds depending on how you spec it. Yukon SLT is the full-size family statement that communicates success without screaming about it. 3 rows of real adult space, commanding road presence, and enough interior quality to make every single commute feel like it was worth it. Honestly, 80% of full-size SUV buyers should stop shopping right here and save themselves the next 3 levels of temptation. Level 5, Denali territory. Sierra Denali, Yukon Denali. This is the tier that made GMC relevant to an entirely new kind of buyer. People who never thought they'd buy a truck and ended up in a Denali because nothing else in the segment felt like it matched what they wanted to say about themselves. Sierra Denali from around $65,000, pushing $75,000 or more once it's properly loaded. Yukon Denali from $75,000 into the mid-80s without much effort. Denali at this point isn't just a trim level, it's a sub-brand with its own identity, its own customer base, and its own waiting list at dealerships that genuinely can't keep them stocked. People ask for Denali by name before they even mention GMC. The Sierra Denali interior is where the professional grade promise fully lands. Open-pore wood trim, genuine aluminum accents, a 13.4-inch diagonal infotainment screen, a Bose premium audio system that actually sounds like premium audio rather than just a speaker count upgrade, and multicolor ambient lighting that makes the cabin feel genuinely upscale every time you get in at night. Seats are heated, cooled, and massaging, which sounds unnecessary until hour 3 of a long drive and suddenly becomes the most important feature on the entire vehicle. Yukon Denali takes everything that makes the SLT great and layers a quiet, composed luxury on top of it that makes long trips feel genuinely effortless. Magnetic ride control reads the road and adjusts in real time. Tri-zone climate so everyone has their own preference handle. Rear entertainment that buys you actual silence from the back seat for 4 hours straight. This is the Denali sweet spot. The premium over the SLT is real, but so is the difference you feel on every drive. Most Denali buyers never go back to anything else. Level 6, the pinnacle Sierra AT4X, Sierra Denali Ultimate, Yukon Denali Ultimate. This is the top of the traditional GMC lineup, where the brand stacks serious off-road capability and genuine luxury on top of each other simultaneously and charges you accordingly. Sierra AT4X from around $74,000. Sierra Denali Ultimate from around $80,000. Yukon Denali Ultimate from around $88,000. Numbers that make your accountant shift positions in their chair. The AT4X AEV Edition takes it a step further, a direct collaboration with American Expedition Vehicles that adds a 2-inch factory lift, 35-inch off-road tires, unique beadlock-capable wheels, and engineering input from a company that does nothing but serious off-road builds. This is a full-size truck that can go genuinely anywhere on the planet in genuine comfort and still tow your boat home without complaint on Sunday afternoon. The Denali Ultimate is the interior statement of the entire lineup. Quilted leather with contrast stitching, open-pore real wood trim across the dash, massaging seats front and rear, a head-up display that projects your speed and navigation onto the windshield, and a build quality that puts it in direct conversation with European luxury brands charging significantly more for a comparable level of interior experience. This is GMC saying out loud, "We can do luxury. Watch us." At this level, you're not buying purely for utility. You're buying the top of a very well-engineered pyramid, and you're going to feel justified every single mile. Level 7, the Icon GMC Hummer EV. It gets its own tier because nothing else in the GMC lineup, nothing else in the entire American automotive market does what this vehicle does to people when it pulls into any parking lot anywhere. Hummer EV truck from around $100,000. Hummer EV SUV from around $105,000. Edition 1, fully loaded, closer to $120,000. 3 electric motors, 1,000 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.0 seconds, and something that weighs over 9,000 pounds. Let that physics problem sit with you for a second. Crab walk mode, all 4 wheels turning diagonally so the vehicle moves at a 45-degree angle. Extract mode that raises the suspension 4 inches at a single button press for serious obstacles. Underbody cameras so you can see exactly what your wheels are doing on technical terrain in real time. Adaptive air suspension, up to 350 miles of range on a full charge. The removable roof panels store under the front hood. GMC calls it the infinity roof, and it completely transforms the character of the vehicle every time the sky is clear enough to justify it. It turns a $100,000 electric truck into something that feels like a moving occasion. The Hummer EV is not for everyone. The size requires commitment every time you need to park. The charging requires planning on longer trips. And the price requires an honest conversation with your financial situation. But nothing announces your presence quite like it. Not the Denali Ultimate, not the AT4X AEV, nothing in the lineup. People stop walking to stare. It is a cultural statement disguised as a truck, and it has absolutely no apologies about it. The trap? Level 1. You're paying the GMC premium on bones that haven't earned the name yet. The badge means something when the vehicle behind it delivers. At the base terrain, it's not delivering enough to justify the difference. The real cheat code is levels 2 through 5. Terrain Denali to Sierra or Yukon Denali, $44,000 to $85,000. That's where GMC actually delivers on professional grade in every way that you can see, feel, and justify to yourself on a Tuesday morning commute. Start with the Terrain Denali or Acadia SLT if you need a crossover or family hauler and want the brand experience without the full truck commitment. Move to the Sierra or Yukon when life demands it. The business, the trailer, the growing family, the road trips that keep getting longer. Hit the Denali trim when you want every single drive to feel like a reward rather than just transportation from one place to another. And if you want to make every parking lot stop and turn when you arrive without saying a single word to anyone, Level 7 has been sitting there very patiently. The best GMC is always the one that matches your actual life, not the one that flatters your ego for 60 days before the payment reality starts hitting different. Everything else is just professional-grade garage decoration with a very nice grille. If this pointed your money in the right direction, hit subscribe. We break down every brand the way it actually works in the real world. No dealership talk, no brochure language, no cap. See you in the next one.